Hello everyone, today we will show you Black Mirror episode USS Callister. Let's get started with the video. We begin aboard the USS Callister, a starship with a 1970s-style color scheme. An arriving hostile spaceship is stared at by a crew dressed in raunchy Star Trek-style outfits. They appear to be doomed, which is why Lieutenant Walton is encouraging Captain Daly, the ship's commander, to surrender. Fortunately for the crew, Daly is a calm, clever genius who devises a last-ditch strategy to destroy the enemy ship, bringing this mini-saga to a close the way most Star Trek episodes do, happily. Baldak, a long-haired and semi-feral space David Hasselhoff, emerges on the screen of the spaceship before the mission is completed. Daly, being a compassionate leader, decides to spare Baldak. The entire team erupts in applause. Daly kisses the two female crew members, one of which is a blue-skinned alien. Then, all of a sudden, the once proud space captain is merely a guy in an office elevator. He's starting to get bald. He's dressed in a classic programmer outfit, and he's sulking in the lobby of a corporation called Callister Incorporated. People lay down in the office like they're sleeping, with small square devices pinned to their temples. Many of Callister Incorporated's personnel are the same as the crew members and villains we've just met on board the USS Callister. Alina, the uninterested receptionist, shares the same appearance as the blue-skinned alien. When Daly walks inside the modern office environment, he notices Nate Packer and incorrectly refers to him as a crew member of the USS Callister. It's perplexing because Nate has no idea what Daly is talking about. He hesitantly requests a vanilla latte from Nate. Daly receives stares from all of the co-workers described above as he walks by. Daly eventually arrives at his office carrying the title Chief Technical Officer, and a brand new employee, Nanette Cole, enters the scene. Daly's imaginative code is something she admires. Nanette is given a tour of Daly's office by Daly, who plainly enjoys the attention. He focuses on his huge collection of Space Fleet artifacts, a show similar to Star Trek. Years ago, Daly and Walton, the CEO, recommended naming the corporation after the USS Callister, the primary ship of the Space Fleet. Walton didn't grasp the joke, but he let him do what he wanted. Talk about the devil. Walton storms into Daly's office and demands that the Infinity update be completed before the holidays. When CEO Walton sees Nanette, he goes into full-on Jaguar mode. He identifies himself as James Walton and makes it plain that he, not Daly, is in charge of the corporation. Daly is merely the hardware. Then, while Daly watches and stews, he whisks Nanette away for the grand tour. Daly goes to see a programmer for an ETA on the update patch that Walton had been asking about, while keeping a watch on Nanette and Walton's voyage throughout the workplace. Daly addresses the programmer as Dudani at first, then Abir, a name to which the programmer responds. Abir explains that the upgrade is taking place, although there are some issues. Installing a repair patch will take roughly 10 days. Daly signs off on the time-consuming patch, evidently preoccupied by Nanette's chat across the office. Daly arrives to his massive apartment after a long day at work. It's enormous, packed with old gaming memorabilia, and far too clean. The strange CTO walks over to his massive computer system and reclines in his reclining desk chair. He places the same rectangular device on his temple as the rest of the workplace and connects it into the game Infinity, a special edition of which he maintains on his computer. On this visit to the USS Callister, Daly's tone was very different. He's enraged that the crew hasn't yet tracked down Baldak. He chokes Walton until he acknowledges he's pathetic, then forces him to serve as his personal ottoman. He asks Packer to make him a vanilla latte, just as he did at work. Packer instantly agrees this time. Daly says exit and exits the game when he's satisfied. Abir says the rollout date will be December 24th, dangerously close to Walton's Christmas Day deadline the next day at work. Daly appears unconcerned. He's too preoccupied with Nanette. Nanette doesn't appear bothered by Daly's attention. In fact, she offers to get him a cup of coffee. She tells Shania at the coffee machine that she's relieved that this workplace isn't as nasty as her previous one. Michaela believes that Callister is a fantastic place to work, but she thinks Daly may be a little starey. From behind the wall, Daly has been listening in on the entire exchange. Daly knows Shania is to blame when Nanette brings him his vanilla latte with a somewhat frosty manner. Daly responds in the only way he knows how. He acts. He takes Nanette's disposable coffee cup lid home with him and places it on his desk. He then swabs a swab of her DNA from the lid onto a petri dish, which he then places in a cube-like apparatus on his desk. The uploading procedure begins, and it's expected to take a day. Even the next day at work, Daly keeps an eye on the upload page. We switch perspectives as soon as the upload procedure is completed. We've returned to the Callister, and Nanette has just awoken. She's dressed in a revealing sky blue suit with matching knee-high boots in this dimension. Space Nanette wanders aimlessly along the futuristic white corridors. She looks out the window and sees nothing but vast space. She unexpectedly comes face to face with the entire crew whom she remembers from the office. They're all dying to know how their real-life selves are doing. Shania tells Nanette the truth after giving her a shot of bourbon. They're all trapped within Daly's sealed-off, offline, modified version of the Infinity game. Daly took each of their DNA samples after they had enraged him for various reasons. Nanette is having none of it. Nanette panics, and the crew decides to let her sort it out on her own, just as they had to. The game starts up and everything changes to that brilliant 1970s colored tone before she can adjust to her new world. Daly has returned, this time with better hair. Nanette urges him to screw himself since he refuses to play along with the game. Then, we see an enraged Daly removing her entire face, making her feel as if she's suffocating all the time. She eventually gives in. Daly sends this frightened, newly docile Nanette on his next mission, to acquire Baldak from a red-hued alien world. Nate informs Nanette on the expedition that only Daly's gun is real. Everything else is a total farce. They have no choice but to die unless he kills them. Baldak and Daly are having a showdown in no time. Baldak unleashes his weapon, a massive tarantula. We hear a ringing from Daly's console all of a sudden. Pizza. Daly pauses the game and remains still. The staff unwinds a little. When Daly returns, he nearly murders Baldak but decides to spare him, as well as his pet tarantula. Nanette returns to the ship and discovers that she and the rest of the crew are missing a vital component of their humanity: their sexual organs. There isn't a single sensation. Nanette, enraged, utters the best television phrase ever: "Stealing my pussy is a red line." We know she'll figure something out at that point. The group sets out on a quest to catch Baldak while sparing his life. Cole finds a way to send a game invite including a message for aid to the real-world Cole after Daly leaves. Real-life situations Cole inquires about the message with the real-life Daly, who dismisses it as spam. When Lowry protects Cole, Daly joins the game to investigate his crew, and Lowry changes into a monster. Cole notices a faraway wormhole as an uplink to Infinity's next update after he leaves, and she deduces that if they fly into it, the firewall would delete them and they'll perish. Walton is hesitant to assist, explaining that Daly has already recreated his son Tommy within the game and punished Walton by throwing him out of an airlock. Cole guarantees that the lollipop holding Tommy's DNA will be found. Cole persuades Daly to accompany her on a solo expedition to Scalane 4 when he returns. She runs into the water in her underpants, and Daly unwillingly accompanies her, leaving behind the omnicorder that lets him manage the game. The crew teleports the omnicorder onto their ship and uses it to access Cole's PhotoCloud account for sexually graphic photographs. They use the photographs to blackmail the real-life Cole into ordering a pizza and collecting the DNA samples from Daly's apartment while he's answering the door. Cole is then teleported onto the ship by them. As Daly returns to the game, he notices that the crew is fleeing. He takes control of a destroyed starship and pursues them through the asteroid belt. The Callister collides with an asteroid. Walton manually repairs the thrusters, incinerating himself in the process, and the spacecraft accelerates into the wormhole. Daly's customized build is detected by the firewall, which locks his controls, making him physically unable to quit the game while it is destroyed around him. Daly is sitting immobile in the real world. Baldak and Lowry are restored to human form as the crew reawakens in the unmodified version of Infinity. After engaging with an irritated user, Gamer691, they continue their trip with Cole, leading the way.